Hi, Noah.
Hi.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Dr. Noah Goldblatt. I am the Executive Director for Global Engagement and the Griffith Center here at Hartwick College, and happy to speak with you today.
So I'm gonna ask a few questions
Mhm.
about the visa and
Okay.
studying abroad. So from your experience, what are some biggest mistakes students are making during visa interviews?
Yeah. So thanks for the question. And I think it's potentially a number of different things. One of the biggest things I think is just really important to be very sincere and honest about what your intentions and goals are. So I think if you're telling someone, I just want to get my degree and then come back home immediately to my home country, I think that is a bit of a flag for a visa officer. Because we all know, that your goal is to get your U.S. education, but we have options like OPT and STEM OPT that allow you to stay and work. So if I were a student, I think what I would say is, I want to get my degree. I want to get some professional work experience in the U.S. and maximize, all the options through my F1 visa, and then come back home to my home country.
So what do you think students can do to like obtain visa, like
Yeah.
increase their chance obtaining visa?
Yeah. And I'd say one of the bigger factors, on top of what I just said about trying to be as sincere as possible in your interview, I think a lot of it does come down to, bank records and finances. So it's one thing to have a bank statement that matches the I-20 and shows that you're able to come to the U.S. and support yourself financially, but I think we really need to prove that and be able to talk about it at an interview. I think, students, if you say, let's say you need $15,000 to be a student in the U.S. according to your I-20. If you have a bank statement that says you have $15,001, and that's your only kind of way that you're backing up the claim, that may be a bit of a flag for the visa officer to say, what, I'm not sure, if this student can afford to be in the U.S. and they're a high risk to not fulfill the obligations of their visa. So I would say, unfortunately, that finances is probably, just from my experience, is a major factor. And of course, being able to really know the school that you're going to, Hartwick College, we're in New York. So if someone says, well, I want to go to Manhattan and experience the city, Hartwick College is, in a rural setting upstate. So to really understand the setting and maybe a reason to come here, it's a smaller town. There's a low crime rate. You get to work one-on-one with your faculty members. You're going to have a small class size. All of those reasons, I think, would be good reasons to come to Hartwick, and also help the visa officer understand you're educated about where you're going, and you're not just picking a place because it says New York on it.
Yeah. What do you think is gonna help for students to feel comfortable but not too nervous during the visa interview? What do you recommend?
Yeah, and it's always that's always something. When you get, it's like a job interview, right? When you're on the spot, you can certainly feel nervous and try and maybe talk too quickly or over explain things. So I would say, again, try and be relaxed and be honest. And they're not trying to make you nervous for the interview. They're just trying to really understand your reasons for coming to the United States. So I think being try and just be as honest as possible, and true to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to try and pretend to be someone else.
What do you think? How confidence is key during the visa interview? How is it gonna affect to getting visa or not?
Yeah, and I think confidence is a really funny thing, right? Because you certainly want to come in and try and be as prepared. I guess it's, again, I would that it's partly on the last question as well. Preparation. So understanding the place you go and knowing how you're going to answer questions. There always will be a question maybe that you didn't think of, but if you come in and act overconfident, I feel like that's even worse. If you act like you're a know-it-all who has all the answers, they're gonna maybe also think, you know what, something feels a little off here. So I think being authentic as possible. Come in as confident as you can be, but we're all human beings. So there's no expectation for you to be overconfident, and I actually think that could hurt you if you act overconfident. But yes, you certainly, again, this is not a life or death situation. Obviously, everyone wants a visa and wants to have a successful outcome. But there are worse things in the world than getting a visa denied for your first time. So, just try and understand, what it is and do your best.
When like colleges or especially Harvard College offer like scholarship, what is the like main criteria you guys focus on?
Yeah. So, I think one thing that's great about Hartwick is that we do have our tuition transparency under our Life Balance College branding. So if you're an international student and you get into Hartwick, everyone gets an automatic $10,000 scholarship, which is really, I think, unique for a lot of schools. So it's not one specific thing, someone with a perfect SAT score or a really high SAT score. It's all the factors that get you to be a successful applicant for Hartwick College will get you that automatic $10,000 scholarship. After that, and this is maybe the little hint, what I can say is you can do an additional, once you are awarded and accepted into Hartwick, you can do an additional appeal. And sometimes those appeals can be up to another 2,000, maybe even 2,500 on top of the standard $10,000 scholarship. And I would say with those appeals, then you can talk about high financial need, needing to support yourself as a student. We're going to talk about student employment for international students a little later in this interview, and how some of those things can be factors in awarding additional scholarship. And again, knowing Hartwick, why you want to come here. I'm here to study biology, and it's because I want to work with Dr. Cooper in biology. Those pieces can help with the scholarship appeal.
Yeah. So our next question is, what are some common misconceptions international students have about the visa or scholarship processes?
Yeah. So I would say some misconceptions are, one type of institution is better than another. So we are a small private institution, Hartwick College, but maybe that's not for everyone. If your goal is to, have a community college education in the United States that's perhaps less expensive, the degree would not be the same level of degree. Like, for example, an associate's degree is different than undergraduate bachelor's degree, and a master's degree is obviously the next level up. So I would say a misconception is that you have to come to a private school in the US and you have a better chance of getting a visa. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, again, coming back to what I said earlier, being honest and sincere about your intentions will be better. I think in terms of other misconceptions, college does cost money. So I'll just take myself as an example. I went to a state school for an undergrad, and I had in-state tuition, so it was pretty low-cost tuition. But even with that, I worked a full-time job in a restaurant. I lived at home for 3 out of the 4 years I was an undergrad, but I still had debt when I finished college. And I know that international students don't necessarily have access to U.S. federal aid. However, college does cost some money, and that degree adds a lot of value in terms of getting jobs and getting opportunities when you finish. So please, understand that even a full scholarship, there's living expenses, there's other costs that will factor into your experience. So plan for those.
If you can share like one advice for international students who wants to study abroad, what is it gonna be? Yeah,
and so thanks. And I think with the advice I would give to international students is really you're going abroad to obviously get a good education in the United States, but really take advantage of every opportunity. Sometimes we will get a large group of students from one country, And I find the students that come from one place and then only spend time with people from their country and speak their home language don't necessarily take advantage of opportunities if to meet other international students, to get involved in student clubs on campus. If there's sports you like to do, find out ways, or when your faculty member says, hey, there's this out of class opportunity that we're doing, to do, maybe company visits, something like that. Say yes to those opportunities. If you just think you are going to be here and hang out with friends from your own country and study, yes, you can get your degree and move on. But if you take advantage, especially a small school like Hartwick that provides a lot of outside opportunities to students, I would say do them. Because that's when you're really going to make connections.
So our last question is, can students actually work legally while studying in United States and after finishing the study?
So the question about working is certainly, and right now, just given there's talk about H-1Bs and different visas and regulations may be changing. With the F-1 visa, it really does, the primary reason to be here is to study. So that's the focus. And on the F-1 visa, what you are allowed to do is get campus work. So from day one, if you can get a job on your home campus, you can work up to 20 hours a week as a student worker on campus, 20 hours a week while school is in session, and up to 40 hours a week when school is not in session. So that is an opportunity for students to start working right away. And I would say if you're going to come to the US, talk to your global ed office if you have an approved visa and say, I really want to get, once your visa is approved, I'm really looking for a student worker position when I arrive, and they can connect with the career office and other offices to help set that up. So that's one way, through authorized on-campus work. Off-campus work doesn't really begin in terms of opportunities until you are after you complete one full year of studies. So a fall semester and a spring semester, or a spring semester and then a fall semester. You then could be authorized to do something called CPT, which is at the same time as your studies. And CPT can be part-time or full-time. It's supposed to be directly related to your curriculum. So the way we do it here, it will be an internship class that's part of your major. And if you enroll in that class and receive an off-campus opportunity, again, you could work full-time during the summer and do the internship while you're doing the internship course. But that can be paid, and you can also do that part-time during the year while you're doing your studies. And I think one of the most sort of intriguing things for international students, so that's CPT. You have up to 1 year of full-time CPT, or multiple years of part-time CPT. Once you complete a full year of full-time CPT, that could actually impact OPT, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. There's two categories of, actually there's more than two categories, but the two I'm focused on right now are pre-completion OPT, which is OPT that you would do before graduating, and then post-completion OPT, which is OPT work authorization that you do after graduation. And that's what we recommend most of our international students do, is wait until you're graduating and apply for OPT as post-completion. We usually start 90 days before graduation, and that's critical because it can take up to 2-3 months to process the OPT. But that gives you 1 year of work authorization in the US. So you can really work any position that relates to your field of study. And yeah, so that's a very good opportunity. And then once OPT, if you're in a non-STEM major, that would be the completion of your F1 status. I notice a lot of students, especially from Uzbekistan, are in what we call STEM majors. STEM, I believe, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you're within a STEM major, computer science would be considered STEM, so would math, which are two Hartwick majors. You can do a STEM OPT extension. So after you complete 1 year of OPT, if you have a job in your field, you can extend it for 2 more years, so that's 3 years of OPT in the US, and that's called STEM OPT, is the 24-month extension. And that can really maximize your opportunities here, because you have the 3-4 years of study at Hartwick, and then another 1 to 3 years if you're in a STEM field of work authorization in the US. And some students, when they complete that, they could go back for a master's program, and that would reset OPT, and you could do OPT again after graduation. So let's say you did 3 years at Hartwick, did the 3-year degree, and then did 3 years of STEM, that's 6 years. Do a 1-year master's program in a STEM field, and then do another 3 years, 6, 7, that's 10 years of 10 years of legal status in the US, I should say, with 6 years of full-time work authorization.
So can we clarify? So you mean like after like finishing the bachelor, we can work like 2 years, legally as like OPT. Then after finishing it, can we apply to the like without having like visa, without going back? Can we stay in United States and apply for like to higher education and continue like to be legally here, right?
Yeah, and thank you. So the visa for me is always about the point of entry. It's about coming into the United States. Your student status is which is what we're responsible for maintaining. So as long as you have a valid status, you're a full-time student on OPT, as long as that status doesn't expire, you could apply to graduate school in the US, even if your visa is expired. And then we would transfer your record to the new school. And then your as long as you're changing your level of study, all the OPT requirements would reset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks so
yeah,
much.
nice to talk with you today.